5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
A pod a day keeps that doctor away. The more I say that why am I speaking in a weird accent? The more I say that, the more I realise it sounds like this is like a really big online mental health podcast. Like a podcast a day will keep you off. It's not really, but if I suppose what is therapeutic, anything can be to you. Nails on a chalkboard. You might hear that and just be like, oh, honestly, that just brightens my day. Anyway, not got a quote for you today. Usually have a quote from a famous actor. Today you'll have to settle with me. Right, yeah. I couldn't think of anyone good or find anything half decent. If you're on the video, my nose, Jesus Christ. I spoke about this before. My nose is very susceptible to spots, and right now, I should go shake it like a red nose. Yeah, basically my nose is red. But yeah, man, let me tell you my quote. I had to think of one, obviously, right now on the spot, so it's not gonna be amazing, because 10 minutes ago I decided I can't find one. I'm just gonna have to make one up. So we're gonna go with advice is just a suggestion. Even that piece of advice, you could argue, just a suggestion. I feel like sometimes, whether you ask someone who you really rate for advice, or you just get given advice. You see someone on like Instagram just spewing out advice and stuff, and you just take it exactly as is, and you just apply it to your life. I feel like advice is just a suggestion. Some people act like it is like, okay, they do this and it worked for them to live or die by it, and it might work for you also, but it might not. And ultimately, even someone who's like succeeded in life, and succeeded in life in something that you want to do and achieve and stuff, even if you took their advice, it's like their advice is coming from a place of a very like butterfly effect, different paths and lines, and everyone's life is very different. Their advice has come from a place and from a life that is very different to your life, and you might not even encounter some of the things, like whether they're jaded, whether they had a lot of luck, a lot of lows, or whatever it is. It's very specific advice. Like I don't think we take into account how specific advice is, and obviously don't just ignore it either. They're not just winning by chance. You know what I mean? And especially if it's in a field you want to do well in, obviously, yeah, take it, but with a pinch of salt. You know what I mean? Just a pinch of salt. Again, should we now go on a massive tangent about why is that a phrase? Why do people say with a pinch of salt? Why not a handful of salt? No, we're going to acknowledge it's just a weird phrase and move on. Like I saw this YouTube video today, not today, like the other day, and it said it was this video like neurologist, it was something ologist, I don't know, smart guy, explains why when you nod your head it means yes, and why when you shake your head it means no. And I felt like they trained lure people in with these like titles, like something you read and at first you're like, that's stupid, and then you think about it and you're like, wait, no, actually, why do we do that? Yeah, it's right. Wait, it's actually quite interesting. Why do we shake our head for yes? It's just a made up thing, and it's like we just do. Like it's like, would you want, like, he's just gonna tell you some some whatever reason for it, like back in this whatever we used to do. It's like we just do. Why does yes mean yes and no means no? Why do we call this up and that down? Why does this mean fuck off, and this means handshake, and this means high five? It's just stuff. And I'm sure it has a meaning in some way. I mean, if it gets your rocks off, go ahead. But I'm just saying they won't be getting my view. Thank you very much. I'm sure that'll massively impact their life. Where should we start today? I mean, yesterday I was talking about Lil Yachty's new album. Lil Yachty. That's my Lil Yachty impression. Please like and subscribe. I liked it. It was like, I'm not like what are they called? If you're like big in films, you're like a film bro. Okay, a little tangent real quick. Which, by the way, I was listening to like a new podcast. I was trying to find new podcasts to listen to. These ones are talking about films. I don't think I'm gonna stick with them too long. They were just really they spoke like when two people have a podcast, which is probably my ideal number, two, max three, but I'd like two at max. Anyway, I just wanted to feel like a free flowing conversation, good chem, chemistry. That was an abbreviation for you. And it's not like chemistry was bad. Like the two people's podcast, they were literally in a relationship. So I mean, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but I can only assume they probably have good chemistry for that reason. But I don't know, like it was like the guy would speak for like 10 minutes at a time, just ramble, and then he would ask a question at the end, and then she would go 10 minutes at a time and then just ramble. And in real life, you're jumping in, you're cutting each other off, you're asking questions in the middle of the question you're just asking. It's just more of a conversation. And this was just like, it was a bit regimented. And like, I don't know if they were reading off a script, but they were presenting all of their dialogue like they were reading a script, and it just felt a bit too whatever for me. And also, they were putting in clips from the movies that they were talking about every like 5 minutes, and the clips they put in were so long. Like it made the podcast like 3 hours long, and it was just too much on it. I was like, I don't need to hear all the clips you're talking about. It's like a lot. And yeah, they were like both professors and like in schools and stuff. And like they mentioned, this is so specific that I'm talking about this, but they was ranking Timothy Chalamet's. I'm making it so obvious what this podcast is. Like, it's a good podcast. If this ever for some reason came back to bite me, it's a good podcast. It's just not for me. Although I did listen to a few episodes. They was ranking Timothy Chalamet's or what his top 10 best performances were, and before they even got into the 10, they said we're not going to rank his Miss Stevens performance, which is one of his performances from like back in the day, because the theme of the story is like he's a student, she's a teacher, and he's like that kind of spunky student, that kind of like, she's kind of the depressed teacher, like down on her luck, and then he kind of like is all witty and stuff, like outsmarts her, but like witty and spunky. And then there's like relations. They're not like deep relationship where they fuck or anything, but just like a line is crossed and the boundary steps. And because they're teachers, they were like, he was like, me and my wife just find that so despicable and like so insulting that stories think there is any reality or world or place where this actually would happen. We just find it so wrong, and we don't stand for it. So we're not even gonna talk about that film or rank it, because we do not just agree. Like earlier on in the year with Licorice Pizza, obviously we didn't do a review for that contained another similar dynamic, and it was just kind of weird. It's like, what a weird thing to be really personal about. First of all, it's a film. It's not real life. It's just a film, we don't, just because you watch a film doesn't mean you agree with like what's going on in the film. And it's like such a weird thing, because like, yeah, obviously, by the way, yeah, okay, so it's bad obviously for a student to have a teacher, specifically because if you're a student, you're probably underage, right? Unless it's like uni or something. But even that, by the way, they would disagree with. But let's just say it was uni, and not say it was Miss Stevens, right? And you were 18 and the teacher was like 40 something. They would not watch that or even want to talk about it. That's like something they just don't go near. They find it insulting even that people make films and are allowed to make money off it, which is like, okay, I don't agree with that. But even if like that was something you agreed with, like later on in that very ranking, they're ranking Bones and All, the cannibalism movie where Timothy Chalamet eats people, the love story between Timothy Chalamet and Taylor Russell, where they consume other human beings. Why draw you draw the line? No, teacher-student relationships. That's despicable. How dare you? Cannibalism. I'll watch. And they're professors in a uni, so if I said this in front of them, they'd probably sit me down and school me and say why it's different. But I'm just like, why are you so above this thing just because you're a teacher, and therefore you can't just step back and look at it as a film? But then other things are also like atrocities is fine, because it's a well-made film. And I don't know, why am I like calling out people for no reason? What the fuck is wrong with me? This was just a big tangent, right? Because I was talking about Film Bros, and I was saying how Film Bros, because I was talking about Lil Yachty's album, right? Okay. And I was trying to think of like what the name is. Like, if you like films, oh yeah, and that podcast, they were talking about another podcast being like, oh, they were like Film Bros or something. And I was sitting there listening to theirs thinking, no, you guys are Film Bros, cinephiles, whatever it is. Maybe they would prefer to be called cinephiles, but yeah. So if you're big into films and stuff, and you love like Nolan and like fucking Kubrick, you're like a film bro, right? If you're like big into sports, what are you like? I don't think there's a name for it. I think it's just films they have a name for, which is If you like comics, you're a nerd. If you like music, what are you? You know, if you like trainers, you're a sneakerhead. You know, if you like music, basically, I'm not like a music professor. Is all I wanted to say. And I just went off about 7 minutes about films just because I didn't know what word. I'm not like a music boffin, but I do like it. I enjoy it. So I haven't got all the technical terms here, but I liked it. It was very ethereal. Oh, flex, ethereal. I know. I've heard that in music reaction videos before. They use that word. Ethereal, sort of like, kind of poignant as well sometimes, and very grand feeling in like the production and like the delivery and a lot of the time. It's just not. It was just very different kind of lane he stepped into. I enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what I got to say on that. Although back on films, Tom Cruise didn't get his nomination this year for Best Actor. I don't think he ever really should have been in the question. I mean, I always spoke about this, but Bill Nighy, I didn't want him in the question either. But yeah, Tom Cruise didn't make it. And apparently, like, if he even got nominated, he probably wouldn't have shown up anyway, because he would have been filming Mission Impossible, which is just like, that shouldn't matter. Like, if you're the people voting, so that's something you genuinely take into account. It's like, it shouldn't matter if the guy shows up or doesn't show up or agrees with your awards. Just give it to whoever the best guy is, you know, or gal, or they don't do a child performer. Do you reckon they should at the Oscars do like best actor? Nah, because then I don't know. Because then nah. I don't need to see kids up there. Nah, I think then it's more impressive when a kid is up there, because it's like, whoa, they managed to break into best actor or best thing. And kids, I don't like it when kids cry. Let me finish that sentence. Out of happiness, not because I'm like against it. Like, if I had a child and they cried out of happiness, I wouldn't like spank it out of them and be like, "Ooh, no emotion, you fucking child." What I mean is that I get, it's like, it's weird. Like to me, like, for a kid to cry because they're sad or they're injured, that's normal. That's what all kids do. For a kid, like, when I see kids getting a gift to go to Disneyland or something, and then, or they get a puppy, and then the kid starts crying, that is like so strange to me, because that's such it just feels like that's such a, like, beyond their years emotion. Like, they're so, like, a 4-year-old kid receiving a gift and being so happy that he cries, like, that just feels so odd for a 4-year-old to be doing. They don't even really understand the gravity of anything. Like, they're 4 years old. Like, is that because is that genuine? Is that because they've seen films and then that's molded them, or like they've seen adults around them cry out of happiness and cry at weddings and stuff, and they learn it that way? It doesn't feel like a natural emotion that would come out of a kid in that way. And if it is, it's just shocking, really. Not like, oh, that's fucking shocking, but like, I'm shocked. You know, like, it's just, I always find it so weird. Like, when I see it, like, oh, you got me. Wait, Mom, you got me a puppy? Oh my God. Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you. Like, I'm just like, what? Like, to me, yeah, anyway, it just blows me away. I don't want to see kids up on the stage crying because they win their Oscar. I know. I'm a heartless bastard. Yeah, Tom Cruise, he won't be there. Film Mission Impossible. And I know this happened a while ago, that all this stuff came out. Not when he was promoting the film, when he jumps out of the plane. He's like hanging out of a plane and like the wind's blowing in his face. He's like, go watch he's not English, am I doing? He's like, go watch Top Gun. It's in cinemas now. Woohoo! He jumps out of the plane or whatever, and it's just like, imagine he died filming it. Like, that was the one he died on. And oh God, I know it's not. It's like Lewis Hamilton, Formula One driver. He's already in a sport where, like, you could possibly die in it. I know you could die falling downstairs, you could die playing football, you could die being a surgeon, you could die being a librarian, but there's a higher chance of dying in a Formula One car, right? Or being like paralyzed, or just like seriously mangled. But there's such a huge chance of dying in that, and all of his hobbies outside of Formula One, he could also easily die in as well. And it's just like so crazy. Like, footballers, like, if they want to film with a YouTuber and do a YouTube video, the club is not going to let them, or not going to want them to do any kind of like activities or challenges out of the fear they might get injured and miss games or something. Formula One is like, Lewis Hamilton runs that shit. If he wants to fling himself out of a plane 20 times in a row, go it. And by the way, when you jump out of a plane, you are literally jumping to your death. Yeah, until you pull the parachute, then you're fine. But in that very moment when you're jumping out of a plane, in that 10, however many seconds it is before you pull the thing, you were literally just falling there. And if for whatever reason you just didn't pull it, you just chose not to, your brain just went, you just was like, you went into this deep thought of whatever. It's just crazy to me. And I know it's like, it always works and you pull it and it always comes out, but it's like, imagine, like, it just, I know it rarely happens. It's like, with a flight, right? It's like, people were scared of flying. It's like, oh mate, it's barely going to happen. There's so many things in place where that could save you or that could stop it from happening, and fail safes and things like that. Whereas pulling a parachute, and I know it barely happens, but with a plane, it's like this big structure of all these little parts. So if something fails, there could be a backup or this thing or that thing. There could be 101 different ways to stop something bad happening, right? A parachute, it's one string you pull. And if that fails, okay, well, you have another string. And that's it. You pull a fucking string. Like, there's only so many things that could go wrong, which I guess limits the amount of things that could go wrong. But it also means that if something does go wrong, it's 50% of the problem. Like, there's so many things that could go wrong with flying. It means there's a higher percent chance that something could go wrong. But if something does go wrong, it's only like 1% of the whole machinery, so you can get rid of it quick. So pulling a parachute, less things that could go wrong, okay, safer. But if any of those things do go wrong, you're omelette, you know? You're red splush. But that's not really the point. The point, I just find it, I see Lewis Hamilton, he's like, oh, I just jumped out of the plane 20 times. Crazy. That's not how he sounds. Oh, feeling blessed, jumped out of a plane 20 times. I love Formula 1. I love gay people. I love black people. I love anyone who's struggling out there. It's not fair. You know, we've got to save the planet. I'm a vegan. I'm #blessed. And I fucking love jumping out of a plane 20 times. And it's just like so crazy. Like, everyone back at the Mercedes factory must have like their heart in their mouth. Just like, fuck, you know what Lewis is? Yeah, he's out in fucking Dubai. He's jumping out of a plane 20 times every day. Fuck. In hell. I know it's like a selfish thing. Like, he could die and that's like its own issue. But also, who's going to drive with George with us? You know what I mean? Because we're trying to make a title charge. Yeah. And yeah, Tom Cruise chucking himself out of planes. And then basically there's that big one where he goes down the ramp. He's on a motorbike. It's for the new Dead Awakening or whatever it's called. I don't know. The new Mission Impossible. Where he's like on a motorbike. He goes down this big ramp or whatever. He goes off a cliff. And then he like... So imagine a huge mountain with a huge drop. And then like a little lip. A little ramp you drive off the motorbike. And he's got a parachute on. So he drives off on the motorbike. Obviously... He lets go of the motorbike, and the motorbike just falls away to the ground, you know, to be brutally damaged and, you know, written off. Bye poor motorbike. And then at that point he's just free falling, and then while free falling he then pulls a parachute and then goes off, and it's like, fucking what the fuck. He's just pushing boundaries at this point, and then you see the people, like the director and stuff, and they're just like, fucking oh god, Tom, put it, fuck it, work, fuck, work. If he just dies on their set right there and then, yes, it's like a logistical fuck up, the movie's done, like, you've just witnessed death, whatever you want to call it. But you're like fucking scarred. You never want to let an actor like do their own stunt on your film again. Or let anyone do a big stunt, even like a stunt double. Like, everyone on set witnesses that, right? That's so fucked. And like, I guess there's a moral side to it that's like kind of fucked, that Tom Cruise puts people in that position where there is a high chance that things go wrong, and he's not professional at anything he's doing, really. Like, he does it a lot, so he's very high level, and there's like nothing's gonna go wrong. But in the documentary Free Solo, where that guy's, and it's very different because there's no safety precautions really, where the guy is free climbing the Yellowstone mountain cliff face thing, right? And obviously he has people kind of close to him, like, documenting the whole thing. If he falls, his death is recorded, and the people close to him are viewing that. And the hardest parts of the jump, I don't think he wanted a clear sight of people to be able to see him. In case he did fall, he didn't want us to put them through, like, the scarred moment, you know, the damage you'd get from that. Tom Cruise has got about 200 people on set, just like, fuck, this could fuck us over if we see Tom Cruise go fucking cruise kebab on the fucking one of the rocks on the cliff. But no, he makes it, and then he comes back and thinking, thank fuck, at least we got the shot. It looked fucking beautiful. Let's all move on. And Tom Cruise is like, no, again, don't think we quite got it. I feel like my toe was just not in the right place. It's like, Tommy, can't even see your toes when you're up there. And he's like, no, we gotta go again. I run this thing. I'm basically the director. I produce this. I put the money in this. You're gonna do what I say. And then they do it again. They do it again. And like, Tom Cruise is one of those guys. He will do his own stunts. And if he can't do his own stunts, get off my set. Or, you know, it has to be his own stunts. Like, it has to be authentic, which is kind of fun because it's like whenever you see him doing anything crazy, you're like, wow, that looked insane, and that must be real as well because Tom Cruise did it. But with that being said, he's got to make sure he sticks to doing certain movies. Like, yeah, Top Gun, Maverick, that's fine. Mission Impossible, that's fine. Do not join the MCU. Right, don't. Tom, there's some stunts you can't do. There was rumors that he was going to, like, be Iron Man in, like, a different universe in that Infinity War. What was he going to say? Kevin Feige, I wish to be literally snapped from existence. I want the real thing. I do my own stunts. No, Tom. We just use, like, CGI. We can't fucking incinerate you. I do my own stunts. You know what I mean? It's like, what can you do in that scenario? Like, he's gonna be like, hit me with a fucking shield, electrocute me with Thor's lightning. You know what I mean? I do my own stunts, and it's like, it's fine. It's fair enough when you're jumping out of planes and pulling parachutes and doing things that are kind of scary, but at the same time, doable. You know, when we've kind of got, like, you know, aliens and huge CGI monsters ripping your character to shreds, Tom, we don't advise you to do those stunts. Yeah, so we can't. The day Tom Cruise joins the cast of the MCU is the day we say goodbye to Tom. And then we see on the news article, Tom Cruise dies as he tries to like, imagine Tom Cruise cast as what was his name, Icarus, in that Eternals film, and then we literally see an article like, yeah, it's with sad news and a heavy heart we have to release this statement. It's not an easy one to write, but on filming of Eternals, while Tom was playing Icarus, he he quite literally did fly too close to the sun. And I know that sounds like a pun. I can't, I can't express enough how much that isn't meant to be funny. Both in a literal sense and metaphorical sense. With his stunts, he flew too close to the sun, and quite literally, the stunt was Icarus in the film flies too close to the sun, and Tom wanted to do it for real. And we put him up there. Realistically, we should put our foot down on that. Really, he's Ash now. Yeah, these are actually this is him, right? I mean, you're just holding him in a little fucking, So let's just keep him doing his stuff, crazy things but doable things. Anyway, that was a whole barnstormer. Knee slapper. And I think this is 39, which means the next one is 40. Yes, sir. Which isn't significant, but it's the next round number we're up to, and then the next yeah. I hate when I just do stuff like that. And halfway through doing that, I want you to know, in my mind, halfway through doing that stupid little bap thing I was just doing there weirdly, in my head I was thinking, God, stop doing it now. Just stop now. Cut it off now. It's really bad. Stop it. You're cringing already. Stop it. You're not gonna like it. Stop it. And I just kept going for another 3 seconds. Anyway, after that next big number after 40, the next big roundo is 50, and that's a big boy. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't know why I did that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in number 40. With the kids, and I had like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. He was like,